When did tipping become the new norm in places where it used to be unheard of? It seems like everywhere you turn these days, from coffee shops to convenience stores, there's a jar asking for a few extra bucks for services that were once considered standard. Just the other day, I walked into my local convenience store and saw a blessings jar filled to the brim with tips. Seriously. When did checking someone out and handing them their change become a service worthy of gratuity? I have spent a good chunk of my life working in convenience stores, and I can't remember ever expecting tips for simply doing my job. There I was, ringing up sodas, snacks, and gas, nothing particularly extraordinary about it. We did our jobs, and we did them well, but not once did anyone think to slip us a couple of bucks at the end of a transaction. We grinned, scanned our items, and kept the lines moving while trying to stay chipper amid the hum of fluorescent lights and the smell of stale pizza. But now, it feels like if you're not offering a tip jar, you're somehow missing out on what it takes to make a living. I get it. Most workers are underpaid and overworked, and any additional income can be a lifesaver. I sympathize. Really, I do. But at what point do we draw the line? It seems like the line is getting blurrier by the day. But let's get real. What am I tipping for here? If I'm weary and waiting in line for my coffee, do I tip for minimal interaction? Or is it just a standard part of the game now? Hey, I rang up your coffee, toss me a couple of bucks. It puts a damper on things when you feel this pressure. Not everyone has the luxury of distributing tips willy-nilly. We're reaching a tipping point, pun intended, where tipping is becoming expected in places it never used to be part of the culture. There's a sense of entitlement that seems to come with the territory, turning what should be an expression of gratitude for great service into an automatic add-on to every transaction. And this is where it gets tricky. At the end of the day, we have to remember that the people behind that register or the counter are doing their jobs, just like we all do. They deserve to be compensated fairly for their work. If that's not happening, shouldn't we be rallying for better wages instead of relying on tips as a supplement? Why is it falling on us, the customers, to bridge that gap? So, the next time you see that tip jar sitting there, maybe take a second to think about what you're really being asked to do. Are we tipping for service, or are we being nudged into participating in a tipping economy that's spinning out of control? It's about time to reevaluate what tipping means to each of us, and whether or not it should even exist in these new, unexpected spaces.